Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I will be unboxing a Star Wars collectible. This collectible is a set of 10 stainless steel coins that have different bounty hunters on them. These coins were made to give away during the Star Wars Celebration 2020 in Anaheim. If you didn't know what Star Wars Celebration is, it is a fan gathering to celebrate the Star Wars franchise, and it began in 1999. The Anaheim Star Wars Celebration in 2020 was cancelled, and they decided to sell all the coins in full sets. These coins were very limited, and they only had 500 sets, and I was lucky enough to get one. So let's get into the unboxing. So the coins were kind of jostled up from shipping, so I put them back in order, and now I'm gonna show you each of the coins. First up is Dengar. Dengar was a Corellian bounty hunter, operating from the early stages of the Clone Wars till after the fall of the Empire. He was a strong and wise bounty hunter. He had many run-ins with Han Solo, and before being a bounty hunter, he was a gladiator. He also had cybernetics all over his body. Next up, we have Aura Singh. Aura Singh was a female Paladuvian bounty hunter who operated prior to and during the Clone Wars. She had white skin and an antenna in her head to communicate with other bounty hunters while on the job. She also was a mentor to Boba Fett during the Clone Wars. Her greatest asset was her sniper skills. She was known as one of the best snipers in the galaxy. She was eventually killed by Tobias Beckett while on a job for Crimson Dawn. Next up, we have Forlom. Forlom was a LOM series protocol droid who overrode his programming and became a galactic thief and later a bounty hunter. Forlom was assigned to a luxury liner, but logic glitches and personality software corruption allowed Forlom to override his programming. Forlom rewrote his programming and became a galactic thief and later a bounty hunter. This was very problematic for the industrial industry, and they feared that the public might learn that their protocol droids could potentially turn into lethal killers. Forlom often worked together with Gan Findsman Zuckus. Forlom and Zuckus worked on many bounties together, and they fought Han Solo and Chewbacca together. They were also hired by Darth Vader to find Han Solo and bring him to the Empire. Forlom's head was designed to emulate the insectoid species he was designed to serve, with two large green compound photoreceptors. Forlom was cold, calculated, and mechanical. He was very good at anticipating the moves of his targets, and he used that to his advantage. Forlom was a dangerous bounty hunter, especially partnered up with his partner Zuckus. Next, we have IG-88. IG-88 was an IG series assassin droid manufactured by Holowan Laboratories, who worked as a bounty hunter during the era of the Empire. He was a Rogue Class 4 assassin droid, meaning he was one of the best models of droids for heavy combat. He had incomplete programming, so all he wanted to do was hunt and kill his enemies. He was so heartless that once he was first booted up, he had such a desire to kill that he turned on the scientists and engineers that made him, and he killed them all. At one point, he was destroyed by Boba Fett and left him for scrap on Bespin, but eventually he was reassembled. He was one of the most cold-hearted and ruthless bounty hunters. Next, we have Cad Bane. Cad Bane was a Duros male bounty hunter in the galaxy during the Clone Wars. He had blue skin and red eyes. He was one of the most prominent bounty hunters during the Clone Wars, but not mentioned much after the Clone Wars. Cad Bane was cold and capable. He was a strategist, and he has broken out of many prisons using the skills he picked up while bounty hunting. He was most notable for his twin blaster pistols, rocket boots, and wide-brimmed hat. Next up is Bossk. Bossk was a male Trandoshan bounty hunter, and he served as a bounty hunter from the Clone Wars till after the fall of the Empire. His species was reptilian, and they were great hunters. They can heal very fast, and they could regenerate limbs. Their rival species were the Wookiees, and the Trandoshans killed hundreds of thousands of Wookiees. That is why Bossk and Chewbacca have a big rivalry. Immediately after hatching, Bossk devoured the nest of eggs of his siblings and went on to claim that he was the sole survivor of his clutch. Bossk was serious, ruthless, and skilled in the art of bounty hunting, and could even take on some Jedi. During the Clone Wars, Bossk was the mentor of Boba Fett while he was still a child. Bossk and Boba had many missions together during the Clone Wars and during the Empire. Bossk is one of the reasons why Boba was such a good bounty hunter. Next, we have Zuckus. Zuckus was an insectoid male Gand findsman who worked as a bounty hunter prior to and during the Galactic Civil War. His strongest asset was his tracking ability, which made him a great bounty hunter. He worked a lot with fellow bounty hunter 4-LOM. He had large compound eyes and wore a respirator to breathe ammonia. He was also a findsman. The findsmen were a group on Zuckus' homeworld of Gand. They were said to have mystic abilities dating back centuries. These abilities were known to have a connection with the Force. He had encounters with Han Solo and was even hired by Darth Vader to hunt down Han. Next up, we have the Mandalorian. Din Djarin, commonly known as the Mandalorian, was a bounty hunter during the New Republic era. He was a Mandalorian that wore Beskar armor that could deflect blaster bolts and lightsabers. He had a Mandalorian helmet, much like Jango and Boba Fett's helmet. He had a jetpack, IB-94 pistol, whistlebirds, and even a flamethrower. He also had a phase pulse blaster that disintegrated enemies. At one point in time, he was even in possession of the Darksaber. During the Clone Wars, his parents were killed by Separatist battle droids, and he was taken by the Mandalorians and raised as a foundling. He has had encounters with Bo-Katan, Ahsoka Tano, Luke Skywalker, and he even took care of a member of Yoda's species named Grogu. He became a battle-hardened man of few words, and he was a talented bounty hunter. Next up, we have Jango Fett. Jango Fett was a Mandalorian human that served as a bounty hunter before the Clone Wars. He was hired by Count Dooku to be the clone template for the Grand Army of the Republic. Jango received an unaltered clone and raised him as a son, and his name was Boba. Jango wore iconic blue and silver Mandalorian armor and twin blaster pistols. He also had a jetpack and many other gadgets such as a whipcord launcher, whistling birds, and a flamethrower. Jango was a master of every type of combat, and he took on many different Jedi, including Obi-Wan Kenobi. He was eventually killed during the Battle of Geonosis, where he was decapitated by Mace Windu. His legacy was not forgotten, though. His son Boba took over Jango's armor and became a feared bounty hunter during the Age of the Empire. A few of Jango's clones also survived the Clone Wars, those being Captain Rex, Commander Wolf, and Gregor. Next up, we have Boba Fett. Boba Fett was a bounty hunter during the Galactic Empire. He was a clone of famous bounty hunter Jango Fett, and he was raised as Jango's son during the Clone Wars. His father Jango was killed by the Jedi Mace Windu, and he never forgave Mace Windu for killing his father. One of the bounty hunters he worked with, named Bossk, was like a father to him after his father's death. He trained Boba in the ways of bounty hunting. Boba and Bossk went through a lot together during the Clone Wars. Boba was part of many bounty hunter groups over the years, and he even created his own bounty hunting syndicate. During the Galactic Civil War, he mostly worked alone and took many bounties from the Empire and became known as the best bounty hunter in the galaxy. His rival was Han Solo, and they had many run-ins with each other. Han almost killed him one time when he made Boba fall into a Sarlacc pit. He also worked for Jabba the Hutt for a time during the rule of the Empire. Boba has had encounters with every type of opponent, from Jedi to other bounty hunters to pirates and more. During his early bounty hunting career, Boba has had his own unique red and gray armor, including a helmet and twin blaster pistols, much like his father's pistols. During the Empire, Boba wore yellow, green, and red Mandalorian armor that was handed down to him from his father. He also had a jetpack and many other gadgets such as a whipcord launcher, whistling birds, and a flamethrower. Boba's blaster of choice was the EE-3 carbine rifle. Boba was one of the most famous bounty hunters in the galaxy, and he was a very talented bounty hunter and was feared across the galaxy. He was one of the most honorable bounty hunters and one of the most reasonable ones. Alright, that's the end of this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.